We all fell in love with Shiloh. Bro!
I know, me too.
That girl is bad!
Yeah, it brings a tear to the eye.
Brad and Angelina have never had a perfect marriage as we thought, and their daughter Shiloh has finally exposed all the details. The journey started with an argument on the way to the airport and ended 6,000 miles away with the family torn apart. Angelina has shared startling new allegations that her ex-husband, who had reportedly been drinking heavily, punched and choked their children, as well as assaulted her. Now their daughter Shiloh has revealed everything about that fateful night and what actually happened. Brad Pitt reportedly shares a fractured relationship with his kids because his ex-wife Angelina Jolie has poisoned them against their father. But Shiloh isn't among those who have been influenced by her mother. An insider close to the Bullet Train star came to her defense after Jolie claimed that he choked one of the children and struck another in the face during their 2016 plane fight. The source told TMZ that Pitt has limited and strained relationships with his 6 children because of the Maleficent actor's smear campaign against him. The actor's source alleged that Jolie has poisoned the kids against their dad to the point where he has little to no relationship with them. Pitt and Jolie, who parted ways in 2016 after 12 years of romance, are parents to Maddox, 21, Pax, 18, Zahara, 17, Shiloh, 16, and 14-year-old twins Knox and Vivian. Earlier, another source told OK Magazine that ever since the alleged plane abuse of Pitt, his elder kids have essentially kicked their dad to the curb years ago. Maddox, Pax, and Zahara don't really see both sides of the picture, the insider stated. They're Team Angelina. However, the former lover's daughter, Shiloh, does not agree with her elder siblings, as she's trying to encourage them to have a relationship with their dad, because he's always been there for them, and he's a human being and doesn't deserve to be treated like a monstrous criminal, the source noted. It may come as a huge shock to most people to see Shiloh side with her dad on this. The only plausible reason for this may be the fact that Angelina was lying about the plane incident. But before we move on to Shiloh's version of events, we need to go through what Angelina is alleging. Angelina Jolie filed a cross-complaint against her ex-husband Brad Pitt on Tuesday, disclosing new details about what she described in court papers as abusive behavior by him on a private plane in 2016 that led to the dissolution of their marriage. In a court filing in Los Angeles, filed as part of a legal battle over a winery the prominent Hollywood actors once owned together, lawyers for Miss Jolie stated that the negotiations to sell her share of the business to Mr. Pitt had broken down over his demand that she sign a non-disclosure agreement that would have contractually prohibited her from speaking outside of court about Pitt's physical and emotional abuse of her and their children. Her filming goes on to describe an extended physical and verbal outburst in September 2016 as Mr. Pitt, Miss Jolie, and their 6 children flew from France to California. Pitt choked one of the children and struck another in the face, and grabbed Jolie by the head and shook her, the filing states, adding that at one point he poured beer on Jolie, and at another he poured beer and red wine on the children. Federal authorities who have jurisdiction over flights investigated the incident but declined to bring criminal charges. Days after the plane trip, Miss Jolie filed for divorce. But if this is what actually had happened on the plane ride, then Brad Pitt's daughter would have sided with Angelina in this case. Instead, she's not only supporting Brad, but also encouraging her siblings to do the same. There must be a reason for that. Brad Pitt's allies say vengeful Angelina Jolie is mounting a disinformation campaign against the actor by using their ongoing business dispute to dredge up her claims of domestic violence. Sources close to the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood star 58 say he's saddened, but not shocked that Jolie has once again publicly accused him of terrorizing their kids on a 2016 private jet ride. Jolie, 47, pressed authorities to investigate the mid-flight bust-up that led to the Hollywood couple's divorce, but the FBI decided not to pursue criminal charges. That hasn't prevented her from weaponizing the ever-evolving allegations at every possible opportunity. According to Pitt's pals, who slammed the Tomb Raider actress for repeating them yet again this past week, this time in a dispute over a French winery, Miraval. They also accused Jolie of hypocrisy for complaining about Pitt's request for a NDA or non-disclosure agreement while privately proposing the exact same thing to Pitt's lawyers in separate divorce negotiations. Brad's lawyer Ann Keeley told DailyMail.com, "Brad has owned everything he's responsible for from day one, unlike the other side. But he's not going to own anything he didn't do. He's been on the receiving end of every type of personal attack and misrepresentation. Thankfully, the various public authorities the other side has tried to use against him over the past 6 years have made their own independent decisions. Brad will continue to respond in court as he's consistently done." The fact that Brad's daughter chose to be with him is clear evidence of the fact that he is a loving father and a caring husband who would never harm his wife or children. Had he been abusive towards either, Shiloh would have publicly come out to speak against her dad, but she did the opposite. This gives us a lot of clarity on the matter. As always, the netizens had their own verdict regarding this complex issue, with users having a differing opinion. One person tweeted, "This woman wasn't socially respected before Brad dated her. He put this unbalanced girl on the map. I'm sure it was the worst love investment for his life." Angelina Jolie has devoted her life to helping marginalized people throughout the world. But watch people demonize her because of their memory of Brad's abs in Thelma and Louise. "Please, Twitter, don't fall for this," added this fan. People defending Brad Pitt as if their oldest child didn't back up Angelina Jolie on her claims already and testify against him in court. She's been trying to have the other kids that want to be able to do the same. "Brad is a piece of shit," continued another. A representative for Pitt previously complained to The Hollywood Reporter on Tuesday that Jolie continues to rehash, revise, and reimagine her description of an event that happened 6 years ago. By adding completely untrue information each time, she fails to get what she wants. Her story is constantly evolving. Ann Keeley said that Mr. Pitt had accepted responsibility for some things in his past, but that he would not accept responsibility for things he did not do. Ms. Keeley also said that during the divorce settlement negotiations this year, which were separate from the negotiations over the winery, a lawyer for Ms. Jolie had sent Mr. Pitt's lawyers a proposal to settle the case, and that one of the preliminary proposals had been a stipulation that neither party could make a derogatory comment about the other in public, except in court. Ms. Keeley and Pitt's side agreed to discuss the term, but when Ms. Jolie's side responded, she did not bring up the non-disparagement proposal again. The decoupling of Ms. Jolie and Mr. Pitt has stretched on for years, drawn out by a court battle for custody of their children, and more recently, a lawsuit instigated by Mr. Pitt over the French winery Chateau Miraval that the couple bought more than a decade ago. Mr. Pitt's lawsuit filed this year accused his ex-wife of violating his contractual rights when she sold her half of the company to a subsidiary of Stoli Group without his approval. Ms. Jolie's cross-complaint said she only sold her stake elsewhere after talks broke down over his demand for a non-disclosure agreement. Her filing states that the FBI agent who investigated allegations that Mr. Pitt physically assaulted Ms. Jolie and their children on the plane in 2016 had concluded that the government had probable cause to charge Pitt with a federal crime for his conduct that day. A redacted FBI report on the case, which was reported on by several news outlets in August and later obtained by the New York Times, states that the agent provided the U.S. State's Attorney's Office copies of a probable cause statement related to this incident. After reviewing the document, a representative of the United States Attorney's Office discussed the merits of this investigation with the case agent. The report said, "It was all agreed by all parties that criminal charges in this case would not be pursued due to several factors." The FBI report described Ms. Jolie as conflicted on whether or not to be supportive of charges related to the case. Representatives from the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office in Los Angeles declined to comment. Even the FBI has come out and said that there isn't enough claim to file any charges against Brad Pitt for assaulting Angelina. This gives Shiloh's claims even more weight. That's it for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you again with more updates on everything. Goodbye!